All right, here we are. You in?
I'm good.
Okay, perfect.
It says live.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. This is Feroshia Knight again from Coach Training World, and I'm sitting here with the wonderful Elysia Harzel. And I'm really excited because Elysia is one of those coaches who really brings a lot of healing modalities into her work. So she uses a very holistic approach. And I'm excited to be interviewing you today because I'm going to tap your brain, pull out some great information to share with everyone. And I'm thinking it would probably be really helpful to start out with a little bit of your background, just to give an idea of why we're here together and why people should be listening to you. How's that sound?
That sounds great. So I spent the early part of my adult life as a hairdresser. Then I became a mom, and my focus was on my children. And about 7 years ago, I went through a really difficult time. My husband passed away from pancreatic cancer, and it was a very dramatic and tumultuous time of my life. And it sort of turned everything upside down. My whole belief system, my whole life was turned upside down. And I began to search some type of healing for myself and my children. And I discovered just a whole different way of thinking about the world through different people that I had worked with. And so I just really knew that I was so passionate about all of these new beliefs that I was adopting, that I wanted to go out in the world and help other people do the same thing. So I just began getting trained in different modalities. And then a couple of years ago, I went through training with Feroshia, and that was life-changing. And that's where I'm at today.
So I know you have a lot of different tools. One of them is theta healing. And what are a couple of the other tools that you bring into your coaching and your work with people?
I do a particular type of coaching called divine purpose coaching. It's really about helping people step into their own divinity and show up in the world, their own true divine self, their own true authentic self. I do a couple of other more energy healing modalities. One of them is called Instant Miracle, and another one is called Peace Process. And Peace Process is a really interactive tool that it's one of my favorite things to do with people. I love it.
Well, I remember in previous conversations you talked about, really helping people kind of almost retrieve all of who they are and then create the life they want. Who usually comes
Yes, a lot of what
you?
I do.
Go ahead.
Who usually comes to me?
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. The clients that have found me, I work with people all over the world. I have clients in India, in France, Canada, all over the United States. It's people usually that are really trying to return to the truth of who they are. I believe that we're all whole and perfect as we are, and that all the things that we don't like about ourselves are not who we truly are. And so it's usually people that are looking for the truth of who they are and wanting to return to that.
So I'm imagining there's pivotal moments in their life where they're going, I've lost myself, or I want to recreate myself. Have you noticed such trends, and what are they?
A lot of people that come to me have just recently had a major life, something dramatic and negative happen in their life, like a death or a divorce, or they've lost their job. And when people hit that, I think most people tend to seek something outside of themselves. And so that's a big majority of the people that come to me. A lot of people that come to me have been seeking something in their lives. They know something's wrong. They've never fully dealt with, their childhood issues, and that's where the healing modality comes in rather than more of the coaching. But people that just need to recover the pieces of themselves that they left behind as a child, or even as an adult when negative things have happened to them. Just calling back those pieces of themselves that they've lost.
Well, and what I'm almost imagining is they can come to you almost before they're ready to recreate that life and kind of heal those parts. And then when they have that clarity of who they are and they feel like they're in that place where they can move on and actually start to recreate, see things differently, then you can bring them up, continue the process through the coaching.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
A lot of times when someone's kind of at that rock bottom place, we will spend, 2 to 4 sessions really doing some deep healing work. And then they're ready to create the life that they want. And that's where some of the other things that I do come into play, more of the coaching, the divine gifts. We've gotten rid of all that garbage that's been hanging out in their space, and they're really ready to step into their new life. And that is the most exciting thing that I love. I've seen people transform from just, crying through the first 2 sessions to being and having such a wonderful life by the end of 12 weeks. It's amazing what can happen in the span of just a few weeks.
Well, and what I love hearing is you're talking about incorporating emotion as part of the process and allowing it. So it's not push it away, let it come through. And it sounds like within a matter of a few weeks, that's really, helping them to really move through whatever it is inside that is, I like to use the garbage.
Yes. Well, this work causes really big transformations really quickly by getting rid of those trapped emotions, the emotional charge of a lot of memories. This work can really take that emotional charge away. So you still have the memory. You haven't forgotten whatever it was that happened, but it's not traumatic for you to remember it.
So desensitizing it then.
Yes. And so once people have moved past that and they're not consumed by that type of, emotion anymore, then they can step into really creating their life to be joyful and wonderful.
So what do you love most about your work?
I love working with people from all over the world. That's one of my favorite things. I've made connections with people. I could travel to places to stay all over the world.
I love that.
Because I connection with people. That's one of my favorite things. And just getting to see how people live in different cultures and, how they truly live in a family and in their personal environment through getting to know them. And I think my favorite thing is seeing the transformation that can happen from the first session to say, I usually work with people for 3 months at a time. So from the first session to the 12th session, and just looking back at who they were just a short 3 months ago is so exciting to me.
I bet. So I'm sure that a lot of things that you've brought into your toolkit have contributed to how you view the world. And in particular with trauma, is there some wisdom for maybe people that haven't sought out help like you or other modalities? Is there some wisdom out there that you might share for them to maybe look at their life a little bit differently and maybe see their path in a more, I would say, hopeful way?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that what happened, whatever it was that happened to someone in their life, or whatever trauma that they're holding on to, is not who they are. That's not them. They are a true, whole, and perfect person, just as they are. And all of that stuff that they're carrying around doesn't even belong to them. It's not them. It's not who they are.
And so by that, what I'm imagining you're saying is, we can get into the trauma, that becomes the story of our life, and then that becomes the lens through which we look at everything. And then, of course, I'm imagining that also recreates the story internally, and then we keep staying in that state and that particular strategy because of that story.
Yes, exactly. So one of the things, the peace process that I mentioned, is helping people really release those emotions that are in that story. I have them think about this, the story for just a minute. They capture that into a physical process. They drop into their body, and I help release all of those emotions. And it's really important for them to stay out of that story, because that's when people spiral, is when they just get stuck in that story. And so a lot of the work I do is releasing the emotions of the story so that they're not spiraling and staying stuck in that. We all have stories, and we can all get stuck in them.
Oh, yeah.
And so when we can release, I believe that we hold emotions and memories and all of that trapped in our body physically. So when we can release that, that really helps release the actual story around the emotions.
So I'm curious, inside that process, what would I experience as the client? What might I expect to experience, I should say?
It's really different for every person, but I would really take you to the strongest that you can capture that emotion. Say you were in a car wreck, just to give us an example, and it was a very traumatic thing, and I would have you recall that memory for just, a brief, short time in motion, have you just drop out of your head and into your body, and you might feel fear. A lot of times shows up in our solar plexus in our stomach. Mm-hmm. So you might feel a lot of tightness in your stomach. And what I would do is just have you put all of your focus on that in your stomach, just laser focus into it, and just stay out of your head, stay out of the story of it. And I would do some energetic clearing to release the energy of that emotion, and to release just your connection to that emotion. I use a combination of a couple of different things when I'm doing that. And it truly is miraculous. People will go from having, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, their physical feeling may be a 10 or an 8 even sometimes. And after even a minute, a lot of times that feeling is completely gone. Sometimes it'll show up as pain, but a lot of times it's tightness in either the stomach or the heart. And then I will have them recall that memory again. And if the work is done, then they're not going to have an emotional reaction. It'll just be like a movie they saw or a memory. It doesn't completely take away any sadness that we have, but it's going to take away the kind of the illogical emotion that's attached to that.
Mm-hmm. When I was just reading from a lot of different theories, something that I'm going to share with you, and I'd love to hear your reaction. But one of the things is, inside our brains, when we have the story or the emotions, the thoughts, the belief system that all gets built, if we can separate from all that chaos and that story and be a witness, much like we do as a coach, witnessing our clients and sharing back the information that helps them move forward, if we can do that for ourselves, then we can actually start to rewrite that story, instead of letting our brain rationalize or try to decipher or go into all of its cognitive capabilities. We give it a break. And what it sounds like you're doing is you take away some of those emotional components in that process.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening.
I want to try. Maybe we could do a trial, and then we could come back and report on the results.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'd be fun.
I would love it.
So I loved how you shared you had a big impact in your life, and it really motivated you to be of service of others.
Yes, it was a really difficult time. When my husband, as I said, he passed away from pancreatic cancer. During that time that he was sick, I had to face a lot of things about my life in myself. I had been married for 20 years. To face the fact that I'd been denying to myself that I'd been living in a really dysfunctional, abusive marriage for 20 years. Real impact came right after his surgery. His surgeon called me with his pathology report, and he said, his pathology report came back clean, and pancreatic cancer is almost always fatal within 6 months. And so this was kind of a remarkable thing that it happened. They said that he had a chance to actually, possibly go into remission because his pathology was so clean. All the tissue around the tumor was clean. And so I hung up the phone with him, and I realized that my reaction was that my heart had sunk. And I had never allowed myself to really feel that way or recognize that I had seen this diagnosis as kind of as a way out for myself. And so I had to face what had been happening 19 years. And it was a turning point in my life, definitely. I had been denying myself for many, many years. And so it caused me to see the world completely. I can very easily say I'm not the same person I was when this happened 7 years ago. And it's taken a lot of work, but I'm very, very happy now with my life and who I am.
I know, and you just moved to a new city not too long ago, a whole new life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set up your business going.
Yes.
Last year. It's awesome.
Life is good. Yeah.
Well, and I want to just, acknowledge what you just shared, because I think that's so important, that you realized who you were, you realized what you weren't facing, and, you did what it took to get yourself to a place where you could find that happiness and your true self.
Yes.
And I think that's really valuable for your clients and, anyone that are future clients, because you, having traveled that road, I think you intimately know how difficult it can be to face the emotions, face the fears, face the history, the letting go of, what you've known for so long. I'm getting excited here.
Yeah,
and,
I think
be able to take people through that journey.
Yes. Yes. I think that allows me to bring a lot of compassion into the work that I do with clients. And I believe that we attract the people that have kind of the same wounds that we have. And so I do end up working with a lot of people that have experienced abuse. And I can understand it. I can empathize with it. It's not just looking at it from a standpoint of a mind. I can understand it emotionally. And I know what it, the impact that it has on a person and their self-worth and their self-esteem. And so even though I don't talk about that part of my life a lot, I don't advertise, clients that come to me most of the time, they don't know that about me, but they know that they're attracted to me for a certain reason. And so a lot of times that's why, because I can really understand their feelings about it.
Well, and I'm imagining, even if you aren't telling your story to them, they can probably feel that you get them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also helps bring a lack of judgment, because that, especially domestic violence, really carries a lot of shame with it. Yeah. And even childhood violence does too. But so many of my clients have told me that I'm a non-judgmental person that they've ever worked with. And I think that's why, because I know what it feels like to be in their shoes. And so I'm not, there's no judgment at all about it. And even I think people don't mean to judge, but it's a lack of what can feel like judgment.
Yeah. When I often wonder sometimes if judgment is the label we call to discomfort, when someone else's discomfort, in an uncomfortable space, either from their own experience or not knowing how to react, and they say things, or I always think of the avoidant, the whoo. and then we can interpret that as judgment too. It's
exactly.
Like,
yes. Yeah. That's why that's that lack of understanding.
Yeah.
That I mentioned. Yeah. I think that lack of understanding does feel like judgment a lot of times.
So I have a really big question for you.
Okay.
The reason I say is if you want to take a couple of seconds to think about it, but I love this question and I'm feeling inspired to ask it. But what have your clients, or maybe one of your clients, taught you?
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is a good question. Well, what really comes to mind, and I don't know if this is actually literally taught, but I have been so inspired by so many of my clients that seeing what things that they have gone through, especially as children. I've worked with a lot of people that have just had life. It's really inspiring to me just how much people want to change their life and to heal from the past and to move forward in having a life that is really good and really authentic. That's really inspiring to me. I work with a lot of other healers. And so I've just learned a lot of just healing. In fact, that's how I came to some of the modalities that I use, is by working with other healers that are using those modalities. So that's something like that I've really literally learned from them. But I think the biggest thing is just human nature, how strong people can be.
Yeah, we are pretty resilient, aren't we?
Yes.
And sometimes pretty resistant too.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
when you find your clients at that place where they kind of go, I am enough, I see myself, and they feel ready to step into life, where do they tend to go? What happens in that new authentic whole self?
Wow, that's a good question. I work with a lot of people that once they have gotten to that point, and then we've gone through some of the divine purpose work that I do with them, and they've really been able to capture their authentic self and understand their true nature. A lot of people that I work with actually end up going on to do some kind of a similar work that I'm doing. A lot of people have kind of transitioned some type of helping work, or helping, maybe not necessarily work, but a lot of really doing this work.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, the video signal broke up a little bit, so I'm going to recap, make sure everyone here, including me, is clear.
Okay.
It's like, oh, I love it when video does what it does. But so what it sounds like is after they've kind of discovered who they are again, that they kind of go back and contribute to the well-being of others.
Yes.
Yeah. So in a way, healing,
and then that
creates more healing, creates more hope and more happiness in the world.
Absolutely. It's a ripple effect, definitely, for sure.
That's got to feel good.
It does. I love what I do every day. I love it.
So would you have ever imagined you'd be here today in this place?
No, not even 6 months ago. Not even 6 months ago would I have imagined that.
That's got to feel good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. Sorry. Curious. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you might want to share with other people from your point of view?
Can you ask me a more specific question?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That's so broad. Like my mind is going in all directions.
I know you've got like,
well,
there's so much you could share, right? I know. It's like feeling guilty. A little more.
I need to narrow it down before I start babbling.
I guess there's, just sometimes when I'm asking questions, I'm following kind of the line of the conversation, and, if there's something you feel really inspired to share with other people that we haven't talked about, I would love to know what that might be.
Well, we didn't really talk about sort of the divine purpose part of what I do. The healing work is really rewarding, and I love it because it's really true. But the coaching part is what I see. All of the changes that they've made internally will translate into an external change, and their lives will actually change. Because the healing work I believe it's important, but then when people understand their divine gifts and their divine purpose, which is the coaching, then they can take that out into the world and change their reality and their life. Really stepping into what I call the divine, when they can understand who they are, like who they truly are, who they were born in this world to be, and they can understand sort of the obstacles or the challenges that they are met with in this life and how to best, deal with those, and so that they become a much smaller piece of the puzzle. When you can understand that, then I love that part of it. I love helping people, heal from the past, but even more than that, I love helping people go forward, future, the life that they desire and that they want.
Well, as you're talking about that, knowing what we know, how powerful it is for them to feel whole inside, and no longer part of the old story, and to be able to create that life from that clarity and who they really are. And I'm imagining, they probably get a lot more self-confident, self-assured, they trust themselves, they step into their lives more wholeheartedly, all that good stuff, because they're coming from that lens of wholeness. And also probably from what you're saying, being really self-accepting as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. People get in doing this work.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to see.
What is the best way to get a hold of you if people want to learn more about you and maybe work with you?
By going to my website, I have a contact page there that will email me. I don't have my phone number listed on there, but email is the best way to get a hold of me these days. And I'm also on Facebook. My business page is facebook.com/Elysia Coaching.
Great. And I'm curious, what is next for you? What's your next dream, or your more authentic self, even playing bigger in the world? What's next?
Mm-hmm. I've been collaborating with people lately. I'm doing a couple of group things. I love collaborating with people. I'm collaborating with a friend of mine. We're doing a big manifesting day for a group, clear a lot of abundance blocks, and do a meditation to call in everything that they want. And I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I've been doing a lot of group programs, working with, say, 10 people at a time. And I love that because it's, I just love the energy of a group. But I have some big ideas and big dreams with my best friend, who also does healing work, to have workshops and retreats in like exotic things that we want to do as a couples, where the couple will get a lot of the healing and kind of work together, like or somewhere exotic and beautiful.
Love it.
So that big picture, I'm excited about that.
Well, and I remember you talking when you first started the program about your partner. So that's wonderful that you're going to be able to do that with her.
Yes, we're going to have so much fun. We've been best friends since we were 16.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's actually a new trend. A lot of the coaches and healers are partnering, and it's exponential because you get the best of, two different people, obviously sharing the opportunity to learn and grow the business, but also, just think of what happens for the clients, the benefit that they get. So yes, I love it. You're onto it.
Yeah. I've done in the healing work that I've done with partners, I have found that it's more than twice as powerful when there's two people working together. It just brings the energy to a whole nother level that you just don't have when you're working alone. And I love it. I love collaborating with people. It's really
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we can collaborate too.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
Let's do it.
Yes. I'm in.
Well, thank you so much. And, gosh, I always hate hanging up because I don't get to talk to you guys very much. When I do, it's like, I know. So
I know.
But let's make something happen with the collaboration. And thank you so much for sharing so deeply. I really appreciate it. And I think you're such a deep inspiration for people that really want to take where they're at in life today, whatever's happening, and really blossom in their truest selves. And I look forward to learning more about all of your work as you keep growing and growing and growing and making yourself even better for others. So I deeply appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Oh. All right. I will see you soon, I hope.
Okay. Thanks, Feroshia.
Right. Bye.
Bye.